Hi guys, what's up? This is Tevfik here and welcome to another tutorial on VR development. Today we will learn how to create custom hand animations for our Quidditch VR game. And you will be able to use these animations for your own humanoid characters as well. As you know, in this tutorial series we will learn VR development with Oculus Quest 2 and Unity by building a Quidditch VR game. In the previous videos, we set up the project for Oculus Quest 2 and we added a full body VR system using FinalIK from the asset store. Now we will first create VR hand animations and later we will implement these animations to this VR player's hands. So as you see, we have a basic VR scene where we can look at our beautiful body and move inside this awesome Quidditch stadium. But there is something wrong. I cannot move my fingers and it breaks the immersion. So we need VR hand poses working with inputs from our VR controllers. And for an immersive VR experience, it is a must. But how can we create a custom hand poser system that gives us some basic hand poses and maybe some flexibility to adjust for different grabbable objects? Well, for this system, first of all, I have looked at Oculus integration package since it has a very good hand posing system with lots of pre-made hand animations. I thought I could just steal these animations and it would really save me lots of time. But I then realized that I am using a humanoid character and I cannot reuse these hand animations for my Mixomo character hand and fingers. Maybe it is due to my lack of knowledge on animation in Unity, but anyway, I accepted that fact and continued searching for other ways for my VR hand pose system. And this time, I started to think about a system that will allow me to generate VR hand animations rather than using pre-made animations. That will be definitely better in the long term. Then I came across this wonderful asset called UMotion Community Animation Editor. It has a pro version, but we will use the free version, so click on here. It says UMotion is a powerful animation editor for animation of any type of 3D model right inside Unity. Well, it does what it says. It's really powerful and easy to use and learn, and you will see why in a minute. In fact, just add it to your assets and let's create some hand animations. So, as you see, I open up the Quidditch VR game from the previous tutorial. If you do not have this project, that's okay, you can still follow the tutorial. Unfortunately, I cannot share the full source code since it includes FinalIK, which is a paid asset. If you don't want to buy the FinalIK, that's okay too. The method I am about to show you will work with bare hands too. And if you want to access the source code without FinalIK, I share it in my Patreon. You can check the link in description to get the source code and support the channel. Alright, I will first create a new empty scene called Hand Pose Animation Scene. You can follow me by creating a new Unity project or within your own Unity project. From the previous tutorial, I have this Mixomo character inside the models folder. So I will just get it into the scene. If you don't have it, go to mixomo.com and log in. Click on Characters tab and here we have a bunch of free models to work on. Okay, I will get a new model to show. I choose this Jennifer model. Click on Download. Set its format as FBX for Unity and its pose as T-pose. And download. Back to Unity, I will put this model inside the models folder. Now let's put it into the scene. I will delete the old model from the scene As you see, it does not have any color. Well, we need to import these textures. Click on Model, Materials tab here. Click on Extract Textures. I will open Textures folder and inside it create a new folder called Jennifer Textures. Then select this folder. Now these textures will be imported. You may have this normal map settings pop up, just click on Fix Now. Lastly, click on Rig and select Humanoid as the animation type and apply. Because it's a human model and we will create hand animations based on humanoid model. Okay, as you can see, we have a very cool player character. Now it is time to animate the hands of this player for our VR hand poser system. Back to Asset Store, make sure to add this UMotion to your assets. And click on Open in Unity. It will open the package manager and here download the assets. And click on Import. It will add two folders to your project, UMotion Editor and Examples, so I will just import. Okay, now open the example scene here. So this scene shows some animation examples generated by UMotion. And inside UMotion Editor, Manual, you can see the manual page. And I strongly suggest you watch this installation first steps tutorial. But if you do not, that's okay. I will now show you how to use UMotion Animation Editor to produce VR hand animations. Back to hand pose animation scene. To be able to use UMotion, first we need a couple of editors. Click on Window, UMotion Editor, Clip Editor. I will duck this window here. Then I will get the second editor by clicking on Window, UMotion Editor, Pose Editor. I will duck this right next to the inspector window since it is a preferred position for it. Now we have everything we need to produce hand animations. This clip editor will allow us to record and edit animation clips. And this pose editor will allow us to select and inspect the game objects to animate. First, we need to create a new UMotion project. Click on File, New Project, Humanoid, since we are working with an humanoid character. I will name it as UMotion VR Hand Animations Project. As you see, when we create the project, we can now select the game object to animate. Also, this project file extension is .asset, which can be used by other editor extensions too. Next, I will select game object that we want to animate. I will just drag and drop the 3D model here. A dialog window will pop up indicating that game object has bones and transforms that are not configured in the current project. Click on Create Configuration to add them to the project. Boom! As you see, the bones are created and we are ready to animate. Now all we need to do is to change the bone transforms as we wish and record the animation. With this editor helper UI, we can easily change the bone transforms. For example, we can play with upper body, lower body, and the best part, which is the hands. Okay, let's create our first hand animation to learn the basics of UMotion. First, we need to create an animation clip to record on. We already have a default animation clip, which is clip 1, but I want to change its name. So click on this settings, clip 1. I will rename it as first hand animation. Let's keep the frame rate as 60. And under Project tab, choose a destination folder. So, I will create a new folder called Animations and choose it as destination folder and close. Okay, animation clips consist of keyframes, and these keyframes mark the start or end of the animation clip. Keyframes are actually the points on an animation clip timeline that contain data about the game object, like its transformed data. So this green vertical line represents the beginning of our animation clip. And we need to give it some initial keys, like some game object transforms we want to animate. Let's first animate the right hand, so I just need to choose all these bones transforms of the right hand. To do this, I will press the left shift key on my PC and left click with my mouse. As you see, all the bones of right hand are now selected. Then under Pose Editor Animation section, click on Key Selected and click on Key All option. Great! As you see, some keys are added to our animation timeline. That was the start of the animation clip. With the mouse inside the timeline, scroll down until you see 1 second time interval. Now hold this vertical green line and drag it to the 1 second. You may wonder why I did this. Well, in real life, I realized that making a hand pose takes around 1 second. That's why I want my animation clip to last only for 1 second. Now we need to record the end of our animation. Here, as you see, I can manipulate fingers separately or together. In my first animation, I just want to move the ring and pinky finger. But first, let's hide the bones under display here, since it is much better to see. So let me squeeze just 2 of them. Okay, we got our first hand pose. Now I will just record what we have done, show the bones again. As you notice, some of the bones colors are red, indicating that these bone transforms are changed. Okay, I will hold Shift again and select the right hand bones. Click on Key Selected and choose Key All option. Okay, let's preview the animation clip we just recorded. Here, click on Play buttons and there we go. I will hide the bones to better observe. Great. In just 1 second, our hand pose animation plays and finishes. It is now time to save this animation. It is actually very simple. Click on File, Export, Current Clip. And we are done here. Now I will close this UMotion project by clicking on Clear here. This UMotion clip editor is no longer effective since we don't have the game object to animate. If you go to Animations folder, you will see our first hand animation clip here. Okay, let's play this clip with Unity's animation system. To do this, I need the animator window, which is located inside Window, Animation menu. I will dock it here at the bottom. If you click on the character, we already have the animator component. We just need the animation controller to run. Here, let's create a new animation controller called Hand Animator. And assign it as a controller here. In Unity, animation controllers have a default entry state. To run our first hand animation, I will create a new empty state. Let's call it as first hand animation. And for this motion, put first hand animation clip that we created. Or delete this and drag and drop our animation clip. And Unity will create a new state for us, which is easier. Now hit play. Awesome. Did you see that? If not, that's okay since it plays only once. So I will click on animation clip and check this loop toggle and hit play again. Great, we did it. Here is our first hand animation and it is just working. Now let's create more hand pose animations and later we will blend them with controller inputs. So I will open Clip, Pose Editor again. Let's select the character to animate. And show the bones if they are not active. We can create a new UMotion project or use the existing one. That does not matter. Now we will create 4 different hand pose animations. One is for idle, where we do not make any pose. One is for when we press grip button. One for the trigger button. And the final one is the fist pose, where we press both grip and trigger buttons. If you don't remember what the grip and trigger buttons are, here's a simple reminder. With these animations, we will have a basic VR hand pose system that we can easily extend. Okay, let's start with grip animation. I will create a new animation clip here. I will call it grip. As you see, when a new clip is created, all the keys are now gone. Okay, make sure to get this vertical green line to the initial position. To start an animation clip, we first need to tell UMotion which transform bones we will animate. Well, before we recorded animation for right hand, but remember that we also have the left hand that needs to be animated. That is why I will choose both right and left hand bone transforms. So first hold Shift, select right hand bones. Then press left Ctrl and hold Shift again, and this time select left hand bones. Here make sure that it says 42 objects are selected. And then click on Key Selected and choose Key All option. Great! Not hard, but a little bit tricky, right? Now, since we told UMotion which transforms we will animate, let's animate them. I will first drag this vertical green line to the 1 second line. Okay, let's just adjust the hand pose. But when I change the right hand bones, the left hand bones are not changing. And we do not want to manually adjust each hand and fingers. So that should be an easy way. Luckily we have, and this is where the magic happens. Here under Pose Editor Tools, we have the toggle called Mirror Editing. I will set it to on. And now if I make a change with one of the hands, the change is mirrored. That's awesome. It will save us lots of time. Okay, for the grip pose, I will squeeze the middle, ring and pinky fingers all the way. You can observe how the grip pose looks by hiding the bones. Okay, now show the bones again. So first hold Shift and select right hand. Then press left Ctrl, hold Shift again, and this time select left hand bones. Here make sure that it says 42 objects are selected. And then click on Key Selected and choose Key All option. Okay, let's preview the animation. Great, it seems very cool. Now I will save the animation clip by clicking on File, Export, Current Clip. Okay, let's now record the trigger hand pose. I will create a new animation clip here. I will call it trigger. Okay, make sure to get this vertical green line to the initial position. I will first hold Shift and select right hand. Then press left Ctrl, hold Shift again, and this time select left hand bones. Here make sure that it says 42 objects are selected. And then click on Key Selected and choose Key All option. Drag this vertical green line to 1 second. and make sure that this mirror editing toggle is on. Let's hide the bones to better observe the pose. For trigger hand pose, I will move the index and thumb fingers. But not completely squeeze the fingers. Also, you can move only the index finger if you want. That's up to you. For me, I will keep it simple for this tutorial. Okay, now show the bones again. And we will now record what we have done. So first hold Shift and select right hand. Then press left control, hold Shift again, and this time select the left hand bones. Here, make sure that it says 42 objects are selected. And then click on key selected and choose key all option. Okay, if I preview the animation, that seems cool. Let's save this trigger animation clip. And create a new one called Fist. So, the fist animation will be played when we press both grip and trigger buttons in our VR controllers. But first we need to do some default steps for every animation. For example, make sure to get this vertical green line to the initial position. I will first hold Shift and select right hand. Then press left control, hold Shift again, and this time select left hand bones. Make sure that it says 42 objects are selected here. And then click on key selected and choose key all option. Now drag this vertical green line to 1 second. Also make sure that this mirror editing toggle is on. Okay, I will hide the bones to better observe the pose. For the fist hand pose, I will squeeze all fingers. We may adjust the thumb a little since it may intersect with other fingers at maximum squeeze. Okay, I think it looks good. Now show the bones again. I will now record what we have done. So first hold Shift and select right hand. Then press left control, hold Shift again, and this time select left hand bones. Here make sure that it says 42 objects are selected. And then click on key selected and choose key all option. If you preview the animation, it should look like this. Now I will save this fist animation clip too. Great! We only have one animation clip left to record, and that is idle. So I will create a new animation clip called idle. And I will just record the animation without changing any bone pose. Okay, let's save this too. Alright, since we have all animation clips that we need, we are now done with UMotion Animation Editor. I will click on Clear and deactivate the pose and clip editor. Now let me quickly show you all animations we just recorded. As you see, they all look awesome. But how can we work with them? Well, we will use blend trees from Unity Animation System. But we will do it in the next episode since this tutorial is getting really long. So that's end of the tutorial, guys. Thanks for watching and hope you like it. In this video, we created VR hand animations using external asset called UMotion Community Animation Editor. In the next episode, we will play these animations according to inputs from the VR controllers. If you want to see more tutorials on VR development, be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. It would mean the world to me. I also put my Patreon page in the description if you want to support me more. And by supporting me on Patreon, you may get some or all of my Udemy courses for free too. As always, I will see you in the next tutorial.